Welcome to the Life Happens podcast. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear Felicia? Tanya?
I can, yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the Life Happens podcast. I am your host, Grace, Rabia, whatever you want to call me. Today's title is Beyond the Fairy Tale, Unraveling the Myths and Realities of Love, right? Staying in love with intention and connection. We need to forget the notion of love as a magical, effortless bond, right? Because that's not reality. So, guys, we are here today to explore the truth that keeping love alive takes work, dedication, and a whole heart. So let's jump in on this amazing journey to discover how to nurture love that lasts, because we all know that life throws us curveballs. I don't know about y'all, being married. Tanya, you've been practically married. Kim, you've been married for 1,000 years, child. 1,000. 1,000 years. And we know how hard it is to maintain relationships, right? It's hard. But before we jump into it, guys, we want to welcome Felicia back. Felicia was gone. Hey, girl.
How you doing? How's everybody doing?
Good. We missed you because Kim was out of line the whole time you were gone.
What?
No, don't believe that, Felicia. Don't believe that.
She wasn't acting right. Tanya, tell the truth. Tell them what Kim was doing.
Tanya?
Damn the devil, tell the truth, Tanya.
But
I'm
y'all,
sorry, I just got in, and so I haven't had a chance to eat so far. I'm kind of eating really fast on here before it gets too late. But
so you're telling us why we sitting here hungry while you eating. That's what you're telling us. So we just have to starve because you eat. That's some nonsense. Well, did you guys?
I think we should do a time where we're all eating and talking at the same time.
No, we're not. We're not doing that. You guys want to? No, let me ask you. Do you guys want to eat and do a show? No, that's so wretched.
Do you guys want to eat and do a show?
That's a name for that. It's like a mukbang or something like that.
Yes, let's do a mukbang.
That would be fun. But I'm not like you eating. What you eating right now?
I made me a turkey sandwich and some chips.
Girl.
I used some bagel bread and
Bobby was so disappointed.
Sandwich with avocado.
I thought it'd be something exciting, like you eat. Girl, you eat by. No,
I mean, we can do that though. We can make it something exciting, like tikka masala, or we could eat something that we usually don't eat, and kind of talk about the food and all of that. I think we should do a show like that. What do y'all think?
It's up to y'all.
Maybe some Greek food, something different.
Hi Overton. He said turkey. No, sir.
A turkey sandwich is great. So this week is actually spring break.
Yeah.
So I was with the youth today playing flag football.
Oh yeah.
And paddle baseball, something I made up today. So yes, I'm very tired and my arms are sore from throwing and catching, and yes.
Eric says your store came out. No, you don't hear. No, see, you're not behind the scenes listening to the stuff she says to me, guys. I'm just saying. Hey Overton, you don't hear the stuff that I get to hear. I get cussed out. You don't think Kim cusses? She cusses. That's what I'm thinking today.
Holy. Halo above my head. I'm holy.
Okay.
You'll have interesting opinions. You haven't heard nothing yet because this topic, honey. So did you guys get a chance to watch the video? Do you want to jump right into it?
Yes.
Okay, so let's watch the video. The video is titled Falling in Love versus Staying in Love. I don't know about y'all, but I thought this was pretty interesting. Anyway.
Falling in love and remaining in love are not the same thing. And the problem is culture sold us a product that says fall in love, get married, have children, and live happily ever after. And for the rest of us, the reality is after you fall in love and after you get married and the honeymoon is over and everyone has gone home, now we look at ourselves in the mirror, we don't know how to stay in love. Because for the most part, falling in love is voluntary, but remaining in love is a decision. And usually in covenants or marriages, the first thing to leave is connection. And connection leaves because of busyness, because of growing families, because of taste buds changing emotionally, intellectually, or spiritually, and because of selfishness. And when connection leaves, commitment follows right after it. But what if someone taught us, what if our peers and our elders taught us that in order to remain in love, you have to first make a decision. You have to choose love. You have to choose your partner every single day. You have to choose effort. You have to choose kindness. You have to choose empathy. You have to choose to remain there and continue to work and continue to be connected with your partner. Because when connection leaves, commitment follows.
Wow. That's pretty powerful, I thought. Who's been married the longest between you and Felicia and Kim?
Kim.
Kim, we want to start with you because obviously you've been married for a long time. And what are some of the things that you and William do?
To stay connected, you mean? As far as staying connected, me and William try to spend time together a lot, and we talk a lot. So I don't. I have a lot of friends who they don't have a partner that likes to communicate. So I will say stuff like, "Oh yeah, I'm." If they call me or if William walks in, I go, "Hey, William just walked in. Let me talk to him," and I'll get off the phone with them or whatever,
Mm,
right? And so my
right.
friends who are in marriages, they're like, "Why do you do that?" Like my husband doesn't even talk to me. He doesn't talk to me. I mean, he may say one or two words to me, and I'm like, and they feel like their marriage is not well. You know what I'm saying? Because the communication is lacking, the connection is lacking. Now they're not. They're having sex. They're doing all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? But as far as communication and spending time together, that is lost. And one thing I asked one of my girlfriends was it always this way? I mean, was it like this when you guys were dating? And they were like, no. We were dating. It was communication. We talked about stuff. We spent time together. But like the guy just said, over the years, things just kind of come in, work, stress,
Right.
life. And when life comes in, it kind of disrupts that. I think when I had smaller children, it was me and William, it was just so much to do. I think that you have to find that time to spend time together, even when you have small children and adult children too. So we got adult children now. But when you can find that time, because I know that busyness is, man, that right there can ruin a marriage. Just busyness with children and
Yeah.
husbands that feel like, oh, she loves the children more than she does me because she spends all of her time with the children and not me. You know what I'm saying? And so they feel a little bit left out, of the whole dynamic of the family unit.
Well,
So,
Kim, you said something really, really, really important that stuck out to me. You said when people call you and your husband walks in the room, you shut everything down and you
yeah,
make it focus. I think that's so important because I don't know many people that do that. I honestly don't. Married people, because I'm thinking of some of the relationships that I've witnessed, right? That I see. Um, I'm thinking about myself when I was married. I didn't think to stop the conversation unless he asked me something, but I wasn't going to give the phone. For what? I mean, seriously, I'm just being honest. Like, so
But
the
was
fact
that during
that
was I'm sorry, was that during the good time or the bad times?
girl, anytime, it didn't
Okay.
matter. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
yeah,
So I think it's important, like you said, even when your children are small. But I think society now. If you watch those videos lately, they'll ask, "Who do you serve first? Do you serve your kids first, or do you serve your husband first?" There's this debate. Have you all seen it? Like, who comes first, right? So to me, that ties with this. So Felicia, before we continue, I want to ask you, how do you maintain your relationship and the love? Because I know when I hear you talk about your husband, I can clearly tell you guys are in love. Like and you like him. Like you and Kim like your spouses,
I
and
actually
that is important.
he's one of my favorite people. Um, unlike him, I get off the phone for different reasons. I don't want him to hear what I'm talking about, but um, um, as far as our relationship has always been a lot of communication. And I think a lot of women lack doing that. One of the things that I love about our marriage is it's a story. I remember one time when the kids were little and my husband had left and he was doing other stuff. And I felt like I'm here trapped in this house with these kids and he's out doing his thing. And, and he came home and, he was really good about helping with the kids. And I was like, well, you're doing this. I'm fussing. I want to be fussing. You're doing this and you're going here. He's like, okay, baby, I'll keep the kids. Go do what you want to do. And at that moment, I didn't have nothing I wanted to do. So it was like, I need to find myself. And I learned that early in my marriage. I need to find out what I like to do, what I want to do. And our marriage is evolved over the years. But one of the things that makes what I feel like our marriage really good, we're separate, but we're together. Like my husband does a lot of things like with football teams and all that. And I go to brunch and I hang out with my girlfriends. But we're like, okay, like he's getting ready to go out of town. We already have a date. Like we have a date night every week. We already have a date planned. We already have things we're going to do, together. When he gets back, we plan trips. We have things planned. So we work on our marriage. Even with adult kids, you have to work on your marriage. But we always felt that our kids were going to eventually leave us one day. And I think some parents put so much into their kids and nothing into their relationship. So when they get to that point, the relationship total is 0 and their kids total is 1,000, but their kids don't even care.
Right. Oh my God. I find that with so many people when their kids grow up, the marriage is over. It's like, oh my goodness. I thought you guys had this really great marriage. And they're like, no.
They don't know what to do with themselves.
No.
Felicia, what I really heard you saying in my ears, right? You said something so profound as well. You said you had to find out what you like to do. So I'm hearing that you're in your relationship, you guys are independent and interdependent. It's like you're saying, I open my heart to you, but my heart doesn't depend on you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. I think that is so important, and I think it's so healthy because sometimes we look at our partners, whether we're married or unmarried, to make us happy,
right,
to fulfill us, and instead of turning within ourselves and saying, okay, what makes me happy? Because if I'm happy, then you're gonna be happy. Because I'm gonna be happy around you, and I'm gonna have all this joy and whatever. But a lot of us, I know, I talk about culture, but I notice like a lot of people where I come from, they will devote their lives. They'll become slaves to it instead of having that healthy balance.
Right.
And then when something happens, or because people change their mind about who they're in love with, let's be honest, and then he leaves or whatever, and they just want to kill themselves or die over a mere mortal. The hell? But anyway.
But I think that that's important. It's important that you brought that up. I think that's so important because I had one of my best friends, she recently was widowed, and she was like, she had to find out what she enjoyed again. Right. Because during the marriage, it was just kids. Then he passes away and then there's no kids. And it's just like, well, what do I like to do? What do I want? And it's like certain things she discovered about herself. Like one of the things she says, she loves to be affectionate. She loves to touch. And she remembers she says, I remember earlier in our marriage, because they were married as long as I was, she reached out to just rub on her husband. And he was like, why are you touching me like that? And then she stopped doing it.
Oh, wow.
And then after she started dating, guys would touch her. She's like, this is what I like, but I stopped doing it because, she was met with like, don't do that, stop, with all that affection. And so she says, I'm realizing that I like the affection. I like the touching. I like the, how you doing? She likes that. So it's like, it's important to never just lose yourself into what somebody else's needs are and don't address your own.
That's so true when you're talking about she went from not being wanting to touch to being touched, because your love language changes as you heal, as you grow older, because your needs change.
So true.
it never remains the same, because I can tell you from experience, I was opposed to touch. Now I want to be touched. Even if
Right.
you're touching my baby toe, I don't care. You can touch me. You know what I'm saying? Where I went from being totally opposed to it, because as I've healed and evolved over
Right.
the years, you become a different person. And I think that it happens in marriages and relationships. You change, and then maybe the other person's not changing. But I feel like sometimes the elderly or the people you've been around don't tell us these things, those that have been married for so long, because a lot of them, let's be honest, guys, I'm looking at long ass relationships. They are not happy. I don't believe nobody I see on Facebook no more. I don't believe that shit. I
Mm-mm.
think like they have this life that's so wonderful, but really that's not the reality, right? That is a misconception. They're lying to us. I'm not saying all, but I know a lot, because you can tell by people's body language, not all the time. But before I go on, darling Tanya, I know
But
you've been in in long relationships, right?
A couple.
Like you're not paying attention, but that's not what I mean. Okay, what do you think? Like, what are the common misconceptions about love and relationships as a
I
society?
mean, I think that for me, it's evolving at all times. Like
Right,
for me personally, so y'all got young. Y'all, I mean, y'all were young. Y'all got married. For me, I was young. Me and my kids now, we were together for 9, 10 years.
right. That's a
And
long time.
me, yeah, me being young at that time, I look back onto the things that we did and things in that, and y'all were right. Grown kids, we had work, we had school, we had sporting events, all that stuff. But we would take the time to, okay, let's do date nights. And we would, of course, everybody knows I love food and I love cooking. So even just those like times of cooking together and doing those things that we like together, I think that's what made us last 9 years, not just being with the kids, not just having that life together. And I was young. So, I feel that, listening to y'all and going forward, I do appreciate all the things that I've experienced and went through and going through the different, him, that was 9 years. And then of course I've had, people, I'm single, but I've also had, long-term relationships here recently as well, a couple years. And, you know, I found, because of course they all had different personalities, and now I'm starting to see that it is important before you jump into these relationships to learn that person, because if you're not learning them, you don't know what they like, or if or if it's someone who it's just impossible to I don't know how to say, I don't know where I'm going with that, like when they're impossible to actually
Like
be,
love it.
yeah, be loving and be sincere and be in that, you'll break your back trying to figure out what makes them happy or anything in that, and you just, that's tiring. So I think me going forward in the future, because eventually, yes, everybody, I do want it, like I do want it, I do want to be, even if it's not a husband, but in long term, of lifetime
Right,
partner. I want to make sure that when I do get into that okay, we have these conversations of what we like and what you don't like. Like, I in this past year and a half, 2 years, I've been learning more about openly, like communicating with your partner. About been learning more about love language. Like I never knew about that
hmm,
until I started going through all this stuff. Like, oh man, now it's starting to explain certain things, like the human nature, laws of human nature. You start actually looking into it, then you can understand how to love your spouse and your partner. And
right,
I feel like it's going to be an evolution of learning them, communication. Times are going to change, the years are going to change, what you like is going to change. And so for me, I think that when you do decide to dedicate yourself to that person, like y'all two did, you know that y'all made it work so long because y'all have evolved with each other and communicated, because y'all both made those points that y'all communicate with your husband.
yeah. You're both stress communication.
Yeah.
right. I remember when me and William were married, I think it was going on like 8 years, and the girls were still they were in grade school. And me and William had a conversation. We were sitting out, and me and William had been arguing a lot. And it was like, so we were both sitting outside. And I was like, so tell me, what is it? Like, this is not working. Like, something is not working in this marriage. Like, I don't know what it is. And I was working so much, and I had the kids, I was working, he was working, and we weren't connecting. And we sat outside, and I was like, let's just be honest with each other. And he said, okay. He said, you've changed. And I said, I have. And he was like, yes, you've changed a lot since we got married up until now. I mean, your what you believe has changed, even
Mhm.
how you dress has changed. It's just a lot of change has happened.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's a good thing because I'm not supposed to stay the same. No one is supposed to stay the
Right.
same. That would be horrible if we all stayed the same. And so he had told me that. And I was like, well, I feel like you don't like me. I know that you love me, like William would die for me. But at that moment, we were sitting there and I was like, I feel like you just don't like me. And he looked at me and he said, you're right. I don't. I
Damn.
don't. I don't
Damn.
like.
That was
I
harsh,
know.
but true.
He was like, I don't like it. I don't like this. I don't like how this is happening. And I said, I cannot stay together just for kids. I won't do that. I won't stay in an unhappy marriage. And I don't want you to stay in an unhappy marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So either we're going to work on this relationship that we have or we can end it. I mean, I'm okay with ending it because I don't want to be unhappy, but I don't want you to be unhappy either.
Right.
Wow.
And so that night, I remember driving, we were sitting outside and we was like, okay, let's make a plan. Let's make a plan to actually communicate. Let's make a plan to actually get together. Let's make a plan to actually connect on this and this and this level. And we had to work at it, y'all. And that was
Yeah.
like, yeah, 8 years. We were in
Yeah.
eight
We
years.
had a similar situation. We were like not me and my husband are not fighters. We don't argue. We don't do a lot of arguing. We don't do a lot of back and forth. We do talk, but we're just it's just not our personality types. You will never
Mhm.
see us hollering across the house fussing. That's just something we don't do. But one of the things that I learned really really early in my marriage, thank God for other married couples, she
Mhm.
was like, you're gonna have a date night. I don't care if it's on the floor eating popcorn. Y'all are gonna have that date night. Don't allow him to miss it. You don't miss it. You make it happen every week. And I think that was one of the big things that saved our marriage. Along with when we first got married, like the first 2 years, I think, we were kind of going back and forth, and we went to a counselor. And the counselor told us to read Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. We sat every night and read a chapter of that book, and it changed our marriage totally.
Wow.
Nice. I love
That's
that.
nice.
It totally. I had never thought that a book could change because now I understood where he was coming from, and now he understood where I was coming from,
That's
and
Yeah.
so
so it
good.
just really everything just like started to make sense.
Yeah.
No,
So
that's
I think
That's so
that's
good.
so important, so important.
it is. And I think sometimes where we go wrong as women, we think we know men, but we really don't because they do
You
not.
really don't.
Like when I talk to men and I'm listening to their reasoning, it's like nothing I would have considered. We are more emotional and they are more logical, right? And I think one of the misconceptions about relationships is that people think if you meet the one, then it's supposed to be effortless, it just flows. But no, that does not work that way. There has to be thoughtful intention, it has to be curated, it's something you have to work at.
You
And if
have to
I,
work at it.
guys,
Eventually, it flows, but in the beginning, you got to put in
no,
the work.
how
Yeah,
much do
you
you
do.
have to
You got to
work?
put in work.
I
Yeah.
mean, you absolutely, because the reality is that relationships, successful relationships require work. And that's what I'm hearing from you guys. Like you're made a intention, you're intentional for this thing to work. That conversation you had with William, girl, that's a hard conversation. But
Yes.
Yeah.
you guys survived that. You overcame that. That man said, I don't like you. And that's
Yeah.
real. Said,
Mhm.
that would hurt someone's feelings. But that was yours reality at the time.
Yeah.
So then you both could make some adjustments. But like when you watch these people on TV and talking about or social media about their love lives, it's just unrealistic because the work. Yeah, I mean, as a well, unmarried but used to be married for so I did not work. When I think about the type of wife I was, my focus was on my kids. I focus on the kids. They came first. There was no like, okay, time for him. Now,
Mhm.
granted, there's other bullshit going on, but there was no time for him. If I could go back and change some of the way I did things, I would. Now that I know, if I had this mind that I have now,
Right, exactly.
you still would have been divorced, guys. Let me make that perfectly clear. But I could have done stuff differently, and it would have affected my kids differently because I would have had an understanding,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But who, Kim? That was good. And
Mm-hmm.
Felicia said something. You said your mate date night.
Oh
That
yeah.
was a priority.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh
Not,
yeah.
And
Even
I
to this day, date night is a priority. And I think we don't vocalize it enough or tell other married women enough. I'll tell my husband, I need a hug. He'll come hug me, or I need a kiss, or he'll tell me, I need some loving. Okay, I'm down, and you have to be able to open your
yeah,
mouth, and say what you need. And a lot of people don't do that.
thank
They
you,
don't
Sean.
hey, they don't say what they need. Say
right.
what you need. Say what you want. What do you want? What do you need? From me as your spouse. Like,
Yeah.
even some of the joking stuff that we do, we're saying what we need.
Right.
We're gonna get rid of these kids, and we're
Exactly.
gonna
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
But
yes.
I think one thing, Robbie, that was really great what you said. But I think you really have to understand where your husband, his past. You have to understand
Right.
that little boy that grew up and what he grew up in. And
Mhm.
so I think you always have to be conscious of that.
Right.
Not to the sense that I'm not saying, you can make him better or anything like that. I'm just saying sometimes we have to look like when you get, I always tell my girls this, okay, one day you guys are going to get married, but know everything before you get married. Understand what he went through as a child. Does he have a good relationship with his parents? What is that like? You know what I'm saying? Find out all the stuff. You know, I just think that will just help you so much better on in life. You know what I'm saying? When you're coming to this thing and
Absolutely.
you don't understand why he's acting a certain way. Okay, that comes from all the way back there, y'all. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Right. The foundation. It came from the foundation.
It
And
Mm-hmm.
came from the foundation.
Right.
yeah.
Right. And just like, even my husband, we have discussions about our kids. And it's like my experiences mirror my kids' experience because my dad was in the home. My kids' experience does not mirror my husband's experience. He was raised by a single mom. So
Mhm.
Mhm.
sometimes he'll be like, they're rotten. I said, no, that's their standard. They don't understand life where our lights weren't on. They don't understand that kind of life. They don't understand life where no, we're not eating out today. We don't have money for that. They don't understand that. So they can only build on their experiences. And so you
Right.
have to understand, like
Yeah,
Kim said, his experience and understand where he's coming
exactly.
from and how he feels. My husband says, I always bought my own cars, but we bought our kids cars. And see, that's a different experience.
Right, exactly.
Really
Right.
good to understand where they're coming from and then not to belittle where they come from.
Yeah.
Right.
Baby, that was amazing. You are an amazing kid to be able to do that. And
Right.
it put you in a position to be able to do that for our children.
Right.
So
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
ever
exactly.
belittle where
Yeah.
they came from or their feelings or their situations. Always, find that positivity in it.
Um,
That's good.
Eric says, indeed, Kim, a closed mouth won't get fed. And then he said, I meant Felicia, my bad.
Yeah, you should say that.
Yeah.
But you're so right, Felicia, because a lot of times we tend to want to raise our kids how we were brought up.
I
Hmm.
know.
And that doesn't work because I was talking to a friend
That
the
is
other
not.
day. It doesn't work because me being raised where I am, I can't, there's some things I cannot teach my kids. It does not work in the US of A.
Right.
It's like if somebody was raised in the hood, you can't raise your kid like that because they never experienced that.
Yeah.
Right.
So what you're saying about how your husband, and it's good that you guys have these different backgrounds. So this is like your situation is so freaking balanced. Like, I mean, it is because you can say, "Hey, babe, you're doing too much," because you don't need to teach them that they're never going to experience that,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because you'll have this again, this balance.
And
I
What
think
do
that's
you,
it
huge.
was something that I didn't even know was a thing. I grew up with two parents, and he only grew up with one. And I said, it's so much harder to grow up with two parents. And he was like, your life was easy. I said, no, you had two personalities to deal with. You had to deal with your mama's personality, and you had to deal with your daddy's personality. And you only had your mom, and you knew how to read her, and you knew when to go talk to her. But when you got two people, that's a whole different situation. You like, my mama might be crazy today, my daddy might be crazy today. Who do I want to ask first? Because I know they're gonna tell me to ask the other. So it's a whole lot going on. So yeah, it's different.
I know for me, William is like he used to say, "Man, the girls they come to you for everything. Man, the girls talk to you so much. Man, the girls this," because William didn't grow up with a mom.
Right.
Wow.
So his mom passed away when he was like 13 years old.
Right.
Oh,
So
wow.
William never had
Right.
that relationship with a mom where a
Mm.
kid goes to his mom all the time for answers, ask him questions for this. But William didn't do that. He kind of raised himself. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So
Right.
he's like, man, the girls, man, they come to you for everything. They call you about this and this and this. And I'm like, well, yeah, because I'm their mom. But William, I understand that William didn't grow up with that. So he
Right.
doesn't understand that dynamic.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah,
It
that makes a difference. Yeah.
makes a big difference.
Yeah, because I think about when I was married, how my ex is with his mother, and how my relationship was with my mother.
Mhm.
Totally, his mother. Not, but that shit is not balanced because his mother will die for him, but not keep him accountable, right?
Yeah.
Mine will throw you to the wolves, don't give a damn. But his, and then you see how they come up, and then you try to not hold my son accountable. You a lie. But I'm
Mm.
just saying. So then you have to like be this like a force in the house because now you're like, no, I can see from both ends. And then I'm parenting from a place of fear, right? Because of it was a mess, guys. This shit was a mess.
But it was also, I had to teach my husband, hey, game on raising kids with two parent homes. I
Uh,
said the game is what they'll do is they'll play us against each other. So we have to be a united
that's true
front.
too.
If
Right.
if you ask the question, did you ask your mom? What did she say?
Say
So
right,
play
exactly.
it. If they know a parent's gonna say yes, they'll play that. He was like, I never really even thought about that. Of course, because you only have one parent. But if
Right.
you got two, PJ would try that. Dad, can I do so and so and so? And my husband like, sure, whatever. And I said, did you tell him he could? He was like, ah, man. I didn't ask him if he asked you. Say that they try to play you. Kids
Yeah.
will try
It's
to play
smart.
Yeah. Now, both you guys stressed on communication in the beginning, right?
you.
But you can communicate, but how do you communicate effectively, right? Because we can talk at each other all day long, but how do you maintain that effective communication? What are some of the things that you guys do? Even you, Tanya,
Mm-hmm.
like I
Don't
know.
just say I'm not happy. Don't just say I'm feeling bad, babe. What's wrong? I'm not feeling well. You don't have to take care of dinner, or it's always for me and my husband providing action. Like he's an action type person. Like I don't feel good. I need to rest, or I need a hug, or I need some compliments. How do I look? When I say how do I look, I need an answer better than you are right.
Yeah,
You look
right,
amazing.
exactly.
You look amazing. Go put. That's what I need. So it's always, hey, tell me what you need. I need flowers. I haven't got flowers in a while, and maybe not that day, maybe not that week, but 2 weeks from now, I'll come home. There's flowers on the porch.
Oh
So
wow,
it's like
yeah,
you have to tell them that action. For me, we have to have like some action. He'd be like, I need this, or I want this, or when you gonna do this, that thing you do, oh, okay, that's what you need. Okay, I got one. So it's always what is the action? That's to me, that's effective communication. Not just saying I'm angry, I'm upset, or I don't feel like I get a break. No, I need a break, so I'm gonna go get my nails done. Okay.
right.
That's that action, So always complete the communication with some sort of action. Like what are you gonna do? Like not just be mad, not just be upset.
Right, and not talk and
Right.
using sex as a weapon. I hate that women
Mm-mm.
do that too.
Girl, that's
Never.
the dumbest thing. That is so dumb.
Uh, you know,
No, because you suffering too. I ain't gonna suffer.
I'm not right. Exactly. Right. I don't understand that.
I
Mm-mm.
So
suffered enough in my life. I ain't suffering no more. Not behind that. At
Mm-mm.
least. Um, That's good points, Felicia. I also think that we have to be able to actively listen. A lot of times we don't listen to understand, we want to listen to respond. So I'm not
Mhm.
really
Exactly.
listening
Right.
actively, right? And
Right.
then we view our partners like our enemies. I mean, we're in the same team.
Right.
But then you got to ask yourself, okay, what makes me so defensive? What it is could be tone. So, like Kim was saying, you go back to the foundation. What was in that foundation for both of you that if he even raises his voice, I leave the room? So I'm not actively listening
Right.
or even addressing conflict constructively. Now, you want to tell him, and you'll know how men are about respect, right?
Big time.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
And then now, when you're listening to respond, uh, you are real disrespectful. So he's not going to hear you either. So what's the point of communicating then? Then your house is hell, no peace. I
But
can't
you
look at
have
it
to
no more.
marry somebody you respect. And I mean, that
Absolutely.
to me, above all things, you have to marry somebody. If I tell my husband right now, hey, can you get that trash? I have to understand he might have other things going on and he's not going to drop what he's doing to go get the trash. But I respect him enough to know that it's going to happen. If I say I
Right.
have our car tires low, he's going to make sure it happens, you know. So it's like you have to marry somebody you respect and can depend on. You know, you can't it's hard to respect somebody you don't respect. It's like,
Right.
It
you know, I don't
is.
believe nothing you say. You can walk to the corner and tell me you walk to the corner. I don't believe it. That's never
Right.
gonna work in a marriage, you know.
Right. It's not.
I love it when I am talking about something, like me and William, we just having a conversation about something like, oh, look at that. Oh, those are beautiful. And the next day they're at my house. Or
Yeah.
I'll
Oh,
say,
yeah.
oh man, I remember once about 3 years ago, I told William, I really love flowers. I just love flowers. I can't keep plants alive. So I really love flowers. Well, now I get a bouquet every week. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, he heard me. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So
Right.
William is always actively listening to me,
Yes.
even though I'm just saying stuff. It's like, oh, well, we're going to the movies tonight, you know? And it's like,
Right.
oh, I know I said I wanted to see the movie, but I didn't mean like
Yeah.
I was just talking. But
Yeah.
he's actively listening to me all the time.
But that's crazy, and that's like for our relationship is kind of different because me and my husband, that's the one date we don't do. We don't go to the movies together.
I love
How
him.
The
come?
one date we do not
Interesting.
do because he falls asleep in the movie, and I always every time, even at home, we'll watch a movie, he'll fall asleep. So
Oh,
that's the one date we don't do. Like, but he likes to do things. Like he likes to play pool. He likes to do putt putt. My husband likes to be active on a date. Even just eating out to us is not a date. That's just eating out, you know.
okay. So you'll have to do something.
Yeah. It could be a game. Me and him play cards. We play
Hmm.
Scrabble. Like we're kind of boring sometimes. But we do, he's like a doer, you know, like I have to do something.
Yeah.
So, Tanya, I have a question for you. In any of your long-term relationships, right? Not talking about your baby's, your kid's father, like your latest, did you guys ever think about counseling or talking to somebody before you got into something? Was that something that you guys considered?
So it was something that I wanted to
Okay.
do. It was something that I would actually beg for it. Like I actually begged for quite a bit. I begged for, like, hey, clearly this isn't working. We know that, hey, we need help. You're trying to push me into a certain direction that I don't feel safe in going, but I will if we go and do this counseling or if we go and
Right.
do this. And of course they didn't agree to it. So, like I said, you sit there and you try to work with someone and try to make it into it you'll lose yourself trying to
That's true.
figure them out when they don't want to be loved or they don't know how to be loved. And and then like y'all when y'all were saying about learn about his background, well, I did learn about his background and it was, like, oh, okay. And it's still like you still don't,
Right.
it me now that I know this stuff because I had to go through it through experience. Now I'm like, okay, well, now I need to take who I am dealing with and find all this out up front instead of finding out later down the road, and then like, oh shit, figure it out, like,
Right.
and it just, I feel that, it's lessons learned, of course, lessons learned, but also kind of it made me look into myself as well,
Right.
because I figured out all my flaws, this very last one made me figure out all my flaws as a
Right.
woman. It did. And in this last 2 years, I've been doing a lot of self-growth. I've been going to counseling. Like, well, hey, you didn't want to go to counseling? I went to counseling. I did all this stuff. I figured out who I am. I figured out, okay, it's funny that y'all were talking about communication. Well, one thing, I was watching a video the other day, and it was effective feminine communication. And when it was talking about how to talk to the opposite sex or to your partner, and how there's certain things like your tone, because women are naturally, loud, and they, when y'all have a disagreement, how to keep your cadence and your tonality, even the stuff they taught us in sales training, like keep your cadence and your tonality low and soft, because he's already going to see you coming from a point of not rebuttal, but like a point of defense during an argument. How to, when you're trying to express something, don't say you. Let him, let the person know, hey, I feel this way. And Felicia said it, and y'all both said it. So it's like, oh, okay, now it's all coming together. I feel this way because because I was disappointed in the situation that happened. And then I like that Felicia added to that, okay, well, now there's an action. I feel disappointed because of this situation. So maybe next time we can, so it was not putting the blame on him. It was not doing that. So I was like, oh, okay. So now that, because I was watching, I was like, like, I'll listen. I know.
Right.
But now that y'all are saying that, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like, okay,
Right.
you listen, and y'all come together in that communication to move forward on that, to move forward
Right.
healthy, not toxic. Because I'm over them toxic relationships. Like,
I
hey,
hear you. I
So,
understand.
so what do you guys think about marital counseling before you get married?
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
for it. I'm definitely for it. Hey, I'm at the point too. Like, I kind of want to do it when I'm dating the person. Like,
I think that's important.
if we're gonna spend a year together, like, can we do this first? Let's sit down. Let's have a mediator.
Yeah.
I think you should.
I didn't go through marital counseling before I got married.
I didn't.
I didn't do that.
I didn't either. I went to after 2 years after I was married. My husband told me divorce is not an option. It's only one way to get out of this marriage. I said, excuse me, but I mean, he wasn't. He just was drilling home the point that divorce is not an option for you. So we need to figure this out.
Right. Oh, I was about to say something.
Would you want your daughters to do marital counseling beforehand?
Yes. So something is also important. I think we have to have a balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So secular counseling, spiritual and financial counseling as well.
See, I was gonna say
Good.
That's
I need all those.
Actually, that was not my idea, but anyway, I'm not gonna tell you who it was. But
So
I think
wait a minute, financial, spiritual, and what else?
secular, like go to someone that's not a Christian, because
See,
a lot
and
of
that's,
Like that.
I was
because
gonna say
that's
that.
balance, though. That's our podcast, right? We have spirituality and everyday
Yep.
practical things
Mhm.
balance. Because
I
when
didn't
you
think about
do
the
the
financial one
spiritual-
though.
Mm-mm.
Don't
yeah,
ask me about finances.
I
Like,
think that's super important as well. I mean, even before marriage, even in dating, if somebody's
exactly.
opposed to that, you need to take your ass and run. Because why are you? What you hiding? Because you saying I want to spend the rest of my life with this person, right? So you need to have everything out on the open, like ass out. Okay, basically. I think that's important. I think in my culture, a lot of times you're taught to hide certain things. I think a lot of women, even in this culture, you don't, you hide
Mhm.
certain things. But how can you have a successful relationship if you do that though?
Come
Because
on.
I don't think you should hide anything, but this comes back to why our relationship is separate but equal. I mean, separate but together. I
Mhm.
Right.
have my own checking account. My husband has his own checking account, and then we got a
That's
checking
fine.
account for our bills. Like
Yeah, me
I
and
get
Lee.
so
No,
much of my check sent there, and then so much sent here, and it's my personal money. This is how I can buy gifts. This is how I can buy that so many hundreds of dollars a bag or whatever, because that's my account, you know. So I think that's important. Again, for us, it works. I have had the relationship where we had all the money in one account, baby. That wasn't good for us. It
well,
didn't
stuff
work for us.
like that is fine. Like I'm talking about when you hiding and you having a whole separate life outside of that, then that becomes a
I
problem.
know. My girlfriend found out her husband had land, like he had purchased land.
Why?
Wow.
She was like, she went through some of his stuff. He had money, he had land, and they were living in a trailer.
Wow.
Oh
And she
wow.
was like, I don't understand why this is like this. Like he has all this money, he has land, but we're living like this. And he wouldn't discuss finances with her at all.
Now I'm not gonna mention, but I have a family member, okay, right? That she don't know anything that's going on with the finances. Like if he
Wow.
died today, she doesn't know anything.
Oh
Wow.
wow.
That to me is scary because I even said to her, "You need to know.
Yeah.
You need to
I
know.
think
Like if
And
something happens, like business wise, because he has a business, she don't know shit."
yeah,
And
I think I would like to know, but I mean, yeah, I've came to the conclusions that maybe I might need someone to handle my money for me. Like here,
but
take
you
this.
you
Like,
And then
have to.
that's
That's
important
fine.
too, is to know your strengths. Like my husband is really good with money. Like he keeps a whole spreadsheet. He pays our water bill with a credit card so we can get points, and he does all this different stuff he got going on. It's like I know, and like he's like, okay, let's have a
Right.
business meeting. I don't okay. What do you want to tell me? And but we also have like a thing where if something happens, these are all our accounts. This is all of our stuff. So it is something where if something happens, I can go reference it like, okay, we
But
have
you
accounts
know,
here. Right,
yeah,
but I know.
you
It's
know.
not my fun thing, but I know.
But this chick don't know nothing.
That ain't good.
yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, that's not good.
I mean, you just like in the blind. Because one time they asked the husband asked me to write a check for $25,000, and I made a mistake. So I went to the wife and I said, "Hey, I made an error." And then she was like, "Well, why does he want this check, baby? I don't know. Talk to your husband. What the, that's your nigga. I mean, your man. Like,
But I think some women like not knowing, not just about financial, about girlfriends, about affairs. They like not knowing.
I want to know, but I mean, I don't. To me, if I trust you, I don't have to know, like,
Right.
understand it, but I need to know how it works. If you're not here,
Yeah.
something happens.
Something happens. Yeah.
Like I need write it out, okay? Even if I have to read it verbatim, write the shit out like a plan, and then I need some type of understanding, of course. But this was I was shooketh. She didn't know shit.
No, no.
And there's some women out
Mm,
there that have whole houses their husbands don't know about.
Damn.
Yeah,
What you mean?
whole house. They leased that. They leased. It was one. Even I know a person that has a whole house. Like it's her house, but her parents live in the house. But he doesn't think that that's her. He doesn't know that's her house. Like it's her name on it. She closed on it. She did all. I mean, it's her house.
no.
Her parents just need a place to live, so she let them live in her house. And when they met, she had an apartment, and he doesn't know she has a whole house. That's her house on paper, and they file their taxes separate, so he has no idea.
Now I have a friend. Now she has credit cards, and she will have the credit card information go to someone else's house where she'll go pick it up. Like he doesn't
Why
know.
don't you just get it paperless? I have credit cards and I get it paperless.
I don't.
Wait, so then wait. What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she
Why
goes
does
and picks them up someplace else. Like
why does
her
she do
credit
it? Why
card, her credit card accounts, and all this. The billing that they send her. She has it going to her mom's house,
why though? Why?
but she don't want him to know.
Let me tell you something. If you have a divorce, a forensic lawyer is gonna find everything.
All that.
Honey, child, that don't.
Okay,
Now,
so question.
now, how do you guys feel about prenups?
I was about to ask about that. I'm gonna tell y'all that, like, for me, and I have came to this. This is how I came to the conclusion. I'm okay for it. I will sign it. No problem. If I
Right.
get to that point with someone who's well off, who
Mhm.
is established and go, I will sign it. No, no problem.
Now,
The only thing I ask for
something,
is don't take nothing from me, and because I know that I am good in my situation, or when I will, or like
right.
I bring what I bring to the table. Let me, as long as we both leave with what we came with, that's cool. I'm
I am
okay.
okay
There
with
was
it.
something you mentioned one time, Tanya. I don't remember what was it called. It wasn't a prenup. It was something else.
Oh,
Um,
the limited liability partnership.
yeah. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So, so a limited liability partnership is basically, it's a marriage, but it's a partnership where each person leaves with what they brought into it.
Wow.
Hmm.
So like an LLC, everybody or whatever everybody takes like if one goes down, they all know. If you only like you're only limited to these certain aspects of the business, or you're only limited to this aspect of the business.
Okay.
So like if someone, like for example, if someone comes into okay, I get in a relationship with someone and I have all this over here and they have all this over here. He has debt, I have debt. He has income, I have income. If we get together and something happens and we split apart, he comes and leaves with what he came with, and I come and leave what I came with. So it's basically the agreement saying, hey, when it's done, it's done. You leave with what you have, I leave with what I have, and there's no in between. There's no fight over it. There's none of that. So the prenup is where that's why I would be okay with it. Like as long as I know that, hey, I'm not gonna get drained silly, and you're not gonna take everything from me and make me start over from ground one and just put me in all this debt and all this. As long as I know that, I'm cool with it. Like I'll sign whatever. Of course, I'm gonna read it because that nowadays they put the little stipulations in there, like if this and this no, that was I don't know if y'all watched the Wendy Williams one, because she got
Mhm.
drugged through it. That
Mhm.
man got her doing everything we were just talking about.
Oh,
But where
wow.
he's about to sue her for it's like 2 or 3 years of non-payment of
So then,
alimony,
yeah.
He can't.
because in the prenup clause it said that once something about the payment stopping if the show's canceled or if there's no longer the income coming in.
Right.
There's no actual signed deal. And
Right.
when that happens, they stopped payment on it. And
Right.
now he's trying to sue it, but he signed the prenup.
Right.
Oh,
So yeah, so of course I'm gonna read it and do all that. But no, I'm cool with it, because if I agree to marry, to me, I had this conversation with someone too. For me, marriage, because they're like, oh, it's because women benefit financially when they get married. Da, da, da. To me, I'm not looking for a financial benefit. I am looking for a spiritual benefit. I don't and to me, like even if we got to the point where I'm like, okay, you don't want to do this legal stuff as far as like financing all that, at least allow the spiritual ceremony of marriage and agree under God's, I guess, what do you say, God's view on
right.
marriage, a husband and wife.
I,
And
mhm.
I'm okay with that at this age. Now ask me that 4 or 5 years ago, I ain't signing at
I
this
know.
age.
Now, if you sign, I would sign a prenup if I am older and I don't, and there's no children coming out of me.
Mhm.
But if I'm younger and there's a possibility I may have children, no, I wouldn't sign a prenup.
I would sign the
Uh-uh.
prenup with stipulations, like a cheating stipulation. It nulls and voids it,
Right.
because I don't want to get in a marriage where you think you can do whatever you want to do and then leave me high and dry. So that
Yeah.
stipulation with, okay, no cheating,
Woo!
and it would have to end after so many years. Like, okay, after 10 years, this prenup is going to be null and void,
Did you
because
Yeah.
say
now you didn't take 10 years of my life. Because if I
See,
married you at 30, I'm 40. Okay, you gonna
right?
make me start over at 40? So I
Yeah.
think it should
Yeah,
have a beginning
exactly.
and
wow.
end
Has to
date
be stipulations
and
for
a
sure.
cheating thing. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Um.
I would have my lawyer look at it first.
So
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
And my
Like
lawyer look at it.
what's the girl's name? The one that was married to the rapper,
Oh,
Oh,
Jenny
that
Mine?
Mia, Jenny, Me or
Jen.
whatever.
Jenny Wyatt.
Jenny,
So she's saying that they're not going to honor the prenup because he cheated. Now, I guess they're trying to prove if he
that
cheated.
he cheated. I don't think, but I
Oh,
don't think she
wow.
did.
Oh,
Okay.
well.
Let me do this comment. Eric says, listen, as soon as we start mingling financial responsibilities, it's time to start opening up the books and begin planning together, discuss goals, expectations, etc. I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook user says she took me to the cleaners and took my parrots and lizards.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Me. I've been married 6 times and paying alimony to
God,
3.
dang.
Wow.
I want to know who this is.
Whoa.
I be feeling like it'd be my luck that I have to pay somebody alimony. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
You know they take I seen a video the other day. They take child support out of your SSI if you owe back child support.
yes.
Do
Yeah.
they really?
Yes.
Mhm.
My biological dad, my mom gets a check every month from his, and he barely gets anything from it because all those years he didn't pay child support for none of us.
Are you serious?
He pays it now.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It's serious.
He got a disability. He got disability and stuff, and he thought he was gonna get this large lump sum. They took it all for child support.
My daddy was what, 75 years old, still paying child support. I mean,
For
come on.
who?
For his
For you
child.
guys?
They
Yeah.
don't care. If you owe
Yeah,
the state
19-year-old
money, they're
daughter.
gonna get it.
Wow.
Yeah. So women be careful who you marry, because some of these men need
Let
to
me
be
tell
taken
you
care
all,
of.
that's a fact. And don't get married because he's fine either.
Mm-mm.
No, God,
There's
no.
other things you need to consider. Nah, there's more to
No.
life than.
But
than
I think now you should go to some sort of counseling and financial planning. Like if he don't want to show you his credit score and he don't want to show you that, don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
If he don't
When
want
he
to show
show
you
you his rap sheet.
Don't do it.
No, you know, Kim always tells me to send her, if I meet a man, his information so she can do a background check.
I do.
It's important.
Do you have access to a program?
Like, Flavia, give me that
Pay for it?
information. Let's do a background check on him.
Girl, my friend was dating this guy. When she was going to meet this guy, she ended up not meeting him. She ran a background check and he had a pedophilia thing on him.
Really?
Like, I don't even want to know what it's about. I ain't used to me even getting to know him,
That's facts.
Right.
That's facts. But sometimes I heard that anyway.
Yeah. That they could be like 16 and 18, but not anymore. That's not anymore.
I don't play that.
Yeah. Now you got to be young and old. It's not like, oh, she was 17 and I was 19. No, that's not. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So it's important. It's important. And was that you guys, we were talking about how if the friend didn't tell you that your man had been running these scams or doing all this stuff.
I think we talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you should be telling your friends some shit if you knew before. I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, that's a video when even the sister knew, remember?
Mm-hmm. The sister didn't tell her. That's what it was. The sister didn't tell her that her ex-husband was on. I mean, that her was on Facebook or something. Talking about what he did.
What kind of sister is that?
Not
she ain't no sister.
But back to our subject.
Yeah.
Let me. Kim wants us to play the clip again.
Yes, before we end, because I thought it was so powerful what he was saying
too.
about choosing every day. And so I just wanted to end with that so people will have that on their, forefront when they watch this and when it's ended. Just so they'll have that. It goes by so fast when we show it at the beginning. So
yeah, I know. And also I had so many questions for you guys. I don't know if we should do a part 2 and maybe invite a male counterpart.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Because one of my questions, which we can talk about this next week, if you want to continue the topic, is how do you reignite a spark in a relationship? How do you reignite a 10-year relationship, 15? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Talking about like when you put some years in this shit. How do you reignite this thing? I mean, we don't have time right now, but I think it's something I think we should talk about.
Yes.
But okay, let me play the video. Now, where is it, guys? Okay, here we go.
Falling in love and remaining in love are not the same thing. And the problem is culture sold us a product that says fall in love, get married, have children, and live happily ever after. And for the rest of
it won't allow us to be great. Let's try one more time.
Falling in love and remaining in love are not the same thing. And the problem is culture sold us a product that says fall in love, get married, have children, and live happily ever after. And for the rest of us, the reality is, after you fall in love and after you get married and the honeymoon is over and everyone has gone home, now we look at ourselves in the mirror, we don't know how to stay in love. Because for the most part, falling in love is voluntary, but remaining in love is a decision. And usually in covenants or marriages, the first thing to leave is connection. And connection leaves because of busyness, because of growing families, because of taste buds changing emotionally, intellectually, or spiritually, and because of selfishness. And when connection leaves, commitment follows right after it. But what if someone taught us? What if our peers and our elders taught us that in order to remain in love, you have to first make a decision. You have to choose love. You have to choose your partner every single day. You have to choose effort. You have to choose kindness. You have to choose empathy. You have to choose to remain there and continue to work and continue to be connected with your partner. Because when connection leaves, commitment follows.
So powerful. Guys, I really enjoyed this week's show a lot because I believe that it really helps us,
Yeah.
me and Tanya, um, a lot. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys' transparency and honesty and we trust you guys because y'all are very open, really. I know you, and I know because you her cousin, and the little I know about you, Felicia, I know you keep it 1,000.
Oh yeah.
So I appreciate you guys. Any last thoughts before we close?
He just said it all. I loved it.
Yep. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See y'all next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.